good afternoon to everyone from all the offices at Pine Labs, Quicksilver, and to everyone sitting over here at Noida. Let me first start by telling you what's Thursday Chat about. As you all know, diversity is one of the core values of Pine Labs, and Thursday Chat is one of the initiative of Pine Labs VICO group to educate every one of you about diversity and inclusion at Pine Labs and in society at large. Introducing our speaker for today, Anuradha Das Mathur. So, privilege work is something which is like a well-known concept across the world. But in India, it's not very well known to us. But you have been the crusader of privilege forward for a large part of your life. Can you tell all of us over here what does it mean and what is, how people can use that or understand that?
Yeah. Again, I'm going to go back to a childhood story because I think that's where everything starts. I grew up in a home where I was never told to pay it back. We were always told to pay it forward. And I remember, as a young person, sometimes you're told not to have expectations. And my mother actually was the person who would always say that where you do or who you do for or what you do, never expect back from there.
Let me move to the next question. So a lot of people cross talk of a lot of skills like learnability, agility. Some of these skills are very much required to be successful in corporate life. And you've written an article in Harvard Business Review, Ascend, where you mentioned that how humanity can help you succeed in the corporate world. Can you tell all of us here about that and how, like I read that article, and how you can actually feed a good wolf maybe and succeed and be happy?
Yeah, I know that this is contrarian to a lot of things that are spoken about in the corporate world, and I don't think I could ever venture to say that this is the way to succeed, because I think the conventional ways to succeed are being competitive, are being aggressive, are being asking for what you want, all of those things that are taught to you in hard negotiating lessons and all of that. What I want to actually say is that it is also possible to succeed without following that path and following a path that feels more human and feels more generous in a way. And I constantly, I'm not sure that I mentioned it in that article, but to me the telling realization was that in the corporate world that has been created over time, being called a nice guy is an insult. He wants to be the nice guy. What kind of world are we creating where being the nice guy is an insult? There's no problem in being a nice guy in your family. It's a great thing. At work, being a nice guy is an insult. And there is a lot of research today. Harvard's done some big study on happiness, and it's only when people are on their deathbed that they realize that there were things that they could have done differently. There were other things that they could have paid attention to. I just feel like you don't have to wait till you're on your deathbed to do the right things, because our grandparents and our parents from the time we were very young told us let it go, be more generous, be forgiving. All of those things, we follow the absolute opposite of the advice that is given by our grandparents in the world of work. Yeah. And I think people take very long to decide that maybe that wasn't the way to be. Why are people so unhappy coming to work? Why is all the humor around Monday morning blues? Because people have a very different way, a very different being that they bring to work.
So we have a lot of young managers over here. And what advice would you give to us, when it comes to inclusion at workplace? And how do you think we can be successful?
I constantly say that a human being is like a fingerprint. So nobody's recipes are going to work for other people. But I think there are some general principles, and I think, just on a panel a couple of days ago, somebody was asking me about a very similar question. And I think it doesn't matter what roles you're in, what you do, across the world, I think there are two things that bind people together, or they are universal expectations of human beings across the planet. I think one is respect and the other is relevance. Everybody wants to feel respected and everybody wants to feel relevant. And I think if that's what you want for yourself, it's what you have to give others. And I think to be able to embrace what every kind of group brings to the table, would hold everybody in good stead. So whether it is age, or it is class, or it is regions, or it is religion, I think everything contributes something worthwhile and meaningful to groups and teams. So I think the less judgmental we are about people who are different from us, the better the team, the better the culture, and I think better the outcomes. But I think the point that I will stick my neck out and say is that the moment you say maternity, there is an assumption that the responsibility for a child lies with the woman. That's where the problem starts. And which is why I was saying that young women are saying, please grant family leave for 9 months. It's between them and their partner. And you know, there are enough single people today who go out and adopt a child. So you're a parent without being a woman. What happens to that person? You may not have a partner, you have a mother, or you have a sister, or you have a father, or you have a brother who's going to co-parent with you. So family leave puts it out there and says, you know, the unit that is going to bring up this child decides what's best for the child. I don't need to decide what's best for the woman. So I think that place I will say that, you know what, just switch from maternity to parenting, or family leave for bringing up a child. So everybody is an individual within a homogeneous group as well. So yes, women are a community at a meta level, and then within that they are all individuals like there are men. So I think people have to ask, and that option to be doing things that are not conventionally attributed to a woman, first starting with motherhood, and then how you want to be a mother. So there is judgment about first being single or married, then there is judgment about being married with children or without children, then there is judgment about being married with children and being at work or not being at work, right? There's judgment across the board. Extreme emotions of no kind are okay. Please don't become a mess in your tears, and please don't shout so much that the other person can't hear anymore, right? Neither extreme behavior is okay, but in the middle both are okay. So I think it's really the stereotyping that we have to get ahead of in every way. That's what I think, and I think moving from maternity to family is the first step. It's not only your responsibility to mother and parent. This thing about paying it forward, and I started to feel that if we have to create an environment that was easy for women to be in, what are the steps you take? So I started to look, and the West is very obsessed with more women on boards, more women in senior positions. So I started to think about that. Now, when you say why are there not enough women on boards, you start looking and say there are not enough women in senior management. And then you look and say there are not enough women in middle management. So the real pipeline starts to break at the end of junior management, early stages of middle management, where women start to drop out of the workforce. The reasons are common, starting from marriage to husband, to family, to kids, to elder care, whatever it is. It starts at that place, and then women, like one of you said, don't ever manage to come back. So we said, how does one solve for this? How do we make sure that women don't drop out in those first 8 to 10 years of their career? And there were two problems. One is that there aren't enough opportunity. Women don't pick management courses as much as men do. So first isn't the participation of the exam, and then there is the qualification of the exam. Then even when you qualify, it's about staying in the workforce.
Thanks Anuradha. Thanks for your time.